welcome back. This is Dr. Oscar. This is not supposed to be here. We're not talking about this today, all right? Because I know some of you guys already have a little fatigue setting in, so we're going to put that down. Today we're going to talk about that. Actually, not that particular issue, but we're going to talk about an article that came out in the New England Journal of Medicine in October that I know a lot of people are interested in because you all read the New England Journal of Medicine. Probably not, but that's okay because I do, and I select stuff out of there and many other medical journals that I think are relevant to stuff that I know you guys are interested in because you leave comments down on the little comment area, and we actually look at those, or you send me emails, or I just talk to my patients and I know what they're interested in. And that's how the ideas from any of these programs come. So we're going to take a break from the C part of the YMCA, and we're going to talk about something totally different today. And it has to do with an article that came out in the New England Journal of Medicine in October of 2019. Now, I said last time that we did one of these little segments that we always talk about things that have to do with nutrition and lifestyle and stuff like that. So this particular article that I want to talk about has to do with something called fasting. Now, fasting programs for health are not new. Ever since about 1997, there's been a lot of interest in fasting. So it's been a 20-year process. And you might say, well, I like to eat, doctor. I'm not interested in a fasting program. You might not be interested in a fasting program now, but you might be interested in a fasting program in about 3.5 to 4 minutes from now when we hopefully bring this to its head. So here's the scoop. If you look in the book of Esther in the Old Testament of the Bible, there's a section in chapter 2 where Esther is asking people around her to fast, and she's going to do the same thing. And she's going to do those things for spiritual reasons, right? She's going to be pleading the case of the Jews before God, and so she is also asking other Jews to do the same thing. That is called a religious fast. It has its tradition, it has its purpose, it has its meaning, and a lot of people engage in that, and I applaud it. This is a different type of fasting. This is a medical fast or a nutritional fast that is reviewed in the New England Journal and that I want to talk to you a little bit about. By the way, if you've been ignoring your spiritual side, I believe that we are spirit, mind, and body. A lot of people don't like the spirit part, but there's a tradition in every culture all over the world that there's something more to us than flesh and blood. So just my little editorial for today. All right, so let's go forward with the idea of fasting. Why should anybody fast, and what is a fast, and how do we fast? Because there are many different ways of doing fasting programs. Here's the skinny. We've got a lot of data on animals, rats, mice, monkeys, on fasting. There's not a lot of clinical data, but there's more and more clinical data all the time about the benefits of fasting. In a culture where we have food abundance, the idea of fasting is a little bit foreign to most of us. Go into a gas station and what do you see? Well, you see a lot of stuff. Most of it isn't good. These are what we call food deserts. There's a lot of food there, but it's not really food because it doesn't have nutritional value. It's mostly a lot of carbs. So the idea of fasting for most of us is a little bit foreign. But why should anybody consider fasting, and what is a fast? There are definite benefits published in the medical and clinical journals about the importance of fasting. What can fasting do for you? Well, it can help you lose weight, no duh, right? You don't eat, and so you're going to lose weight. No, that doesn't require a lot of explanation. But when we fast for more than 14 or 16 hours, the body goes into something called ketosis. It produces chemicals called ketones. And these ketones do all kinds of things with all kinds of molecules and modulators of inflammation in the body. Inflammation is a bad thing. You don't want inflammation in the body. We have inflammation in the body. It's part of being humans, and we age, and eventually, we go somewhere else. So the idea is that when you fast, you go into ketosis, and then you start influencing all kinds of body processes. Now, what are some of the clinical benefits of that ketosis? Decreased cancer, increased susceptibility to cancer treatments, weight loss, decrease in cardiovascular disease, decrease in diabetes, decrease in hypertension, decrease in high cholesterol. Well, hold on. Let's take a pause now. How many of us have those things or are at risk for those things? A whole lot of people, right? So when I mention those words, since you hear them all the time in the media or in the literature, you don't just flip them off and say, well, I've heard about all this stuff before. There's a million ways and a million recommendations as to how to control some of those things. But one of the simplest things is fasting. All right, what does fasting mean? Well, that means I don't eat. Well, okay, I guess that's true, but how long don't I eat? How often don't I eat? What is the difference between a liquid fast and a fast where we're actually eating solid food? So there's many explanations. You can do 5 and 2 fasts. You can do 4 and 3 fasts. What does that mean? You eat normal 4 days a week or 5 days a week, and then you fast for 2 days or 3 days. Not in a row. Not in a row. We're talking about you pick intercalating days. You don't want to go for 3 days without eating. You're gonna feel really bad. I don't like those particular methods, and this is what I tell my patients, both in my weight loss programs and in other times when I'm asking them to fast. Here's what I tell my folks. You eat during an 8-hour period of the day. The rest of the hours, you don't eat. You can drink something. I like this cup. It says, go your own way. You know, I've been bucking the system for a long time. But anyway, so there's another message for today. So the idea is that you only eat during 4 hours a day. What does that mean? Well, let's suppose you wake up at 7 in the morning. I usually tell people, eat within the first hour of arising. It's good for weight loss, and it is. But if we're using a fasting program for weight loss, you might want to put it off if you can until maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. And all your meals are going to be over the next 8 hours. That leaves another 16 hours or so where you're really not eating. That's a fast. We know that our body goes into ketosis. We become ketogenic after about 14 hours of not eating. That doesn't mean you can't drink during that time. And by the way, what I recommend that you drink is not this, but it's water, right? That old thing that runs in the river. So hopefully you're not drinking from a polluted one. So the idea is that you're going to eat over 8 hours a day, and hopefully you're going to eat good foods. I'm not going to get into good foods right now, because that's not what this particular program is about, but we can talk about that soon. By the way, if you guys have stuff you want me to talk about, you got to tell me, right? Because I have my private patients, I have my own folks that I take care of, and they tell me what's on their mind. But you guys are a wide audience, and so I can't read your minds. You got to tell me if there's something that you need me to talk about, and I'll be more than happy to run a program. Remember, you can always follow us also on our Instagram. You can always snoop around our website, mymetromed.com, and people ask, are we open to new patients? Yes, we're open to new patients. My staff and I, my medical staff, other physicians, nurse practitioners, myself, we do take patients, mymetromed.com, if you want more information about our services. So, fasting in a nutshell. Good for you. Many ways of doing it. I recommend eating over an 8-hour period, and then the rest of the day you're avoiding eating. You can have liquids, preferably water. If you're a diabetic, if you have special medical conditions, talk to your doctor. Don't just go on a fast just because you saw this crazy video on the web with YouTube, and Dr. Hernandez said some stuff from the New England Journal and so on. So talk to your doctor. If you have special medical conditions, if you're a young, healthy person, you can probably do this. If you feel like you're going to faint, like you're weak, like your sugars are going down, please keep an apple, keep something in your purse or in your car or nearby, and eat something. And if you really feel bad, you need to drink something very sugary, like soft drink or milk or orange juice with sugar and so on. I never see that happen, but it's just a proviso. So talk to your doctor, see if this is something that fits for you, for weight loss and for general lifestyle improvement. Hey, thanks for listening. We're going to come back with another segment coming up real soon about use of testosterone in men. Boy, talk about opening up a genie bottle. That sends a lot of people in all kinds of different directions. We're going to explore the science of it, when it should work, when it shouldn't work. And no, it's not going to be a program about injecting testosterone for bodybuilding. That's a totally different thing. All right, thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.